It's a new year, the perfect time to address those nagging aches, pains, mobility problems, and more. Here's how you can design a mobility program specific to your needs to start the year off right. One that's built to last. See, all movement has a rotational component to it, either external or internal rotation. You first want to test your ability to perform these rotations both in isolation and together. You're going to look at 5 tests. First, the squat. This checks external rotation in the lower body. Here's how you do it. Feet hip width apart with the toes pointing forward. Keep heel heavy and squat as low as you can while keeping the legs straight. If you can't squat at least 3/4 of the way down, your feet spin out, you lose heel contact, or it's uncomfortable, call it a fail. Next is a toe touch. This is a great lower body internal rotation test. Feet hip width apart with the toes pointing forward. Keep your knees straight but not hyperextended. Bend forward to touch your toes without forcing it. If you bend your knees, you can't touch your toes, or you go way down like palms to the floor, call those a fail. Next, you want to check these rotations in the upper body. We'll start with shoulder external rotation. You want to look at this 2 different ways. First, keep the elbow glued to your side with the elbow bent at 90 degrees. Let your arm fall outward without straightening the elbow or losing your arm away from your side. We're looking for about 70 degrees of motion here. For the next one, bring your arm to 90 degrees of abduction with the elbow bent. Let your arm fall backward toward the ground without arching your back. Here you're looking for your wrist to touch the ground with about a 30-degree bend. That's close to 90 degrees of shoulder external rotation. Then we're going to look at internal rotation in the upper body using an Apley's scratch test. Looking straight ahead, reach your arms behind your back. One shoulder should try and touch the opposite shoulder blade on the top, while the other should touch the bottom of the opposite shoulder blade. If you can't touch these, you're limited in this motion. And the last test puts both rotations, external and internal, together. Feet completely together, no spaces, especially you. Arms completely relaxed. Turn your entire body each direction while keeping your feet on the ground. If you take a picture, you should be able to see your head, chest, and hip bone on the same side you're turning toward. If you can't, it's restricted. Once you have your test results, you'll want to look at the findings and see if there's any specific patterns. It's not uncommon for certain restrictions to be paired together in a specific way. Here are the possibilities. The first is you hella stiff. This is you if all measures were restricted. Next, I call the fetal position. If your internal rotation measures are pretty dang good, but you're limited in external rotation, this is you. Next, the frog. You're this if your external rotation measures are pretty dang good, but your internal rotation measures are limited. And of course, the duck butt. I'm talking J-Lo, I'm talking Kim K, I'm talking Donald Duck. Don't sue me, Disney. This is you if your squat and Apley's are limited. Next is the World of Warcraft 36-hour bender with 2 Mountain Dews in either hand. What? This is you if your toe touch and external rotation is limited. Or what if you're the person who's like, I passed them all, Zach. I'm awesome, right? Wrong. Usually, these folks are really good at creating motion through the spine. Don't worry, I got some special tricks up my sleeve for you. And then the last category is the rotational or asymmetrical category. This is you if the rotation test is limited or you're looking asymmetrical in your measures. So external is good on one side and internal is limited, and then vice versa on the other side. You have a loss of external rotation, but internal looks pretty good. You'll want to finish here after spending anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks on the starting moves. The first group we'll look at is, hey, you hella stiff. When you're hella stiff, muscles on the front and back of the body get tight. This creates a squeezing force on the body, not just in the rib cage, but throughout, and that limits your ability to rotate. The fix is we want to squeeze in the other direction. So we're gonna work on activities that squeeze the sides of the body. That'll open up the front and back space, which improves rotation. And also, if we reduce overall tension, you'll move and feel that much better. The easiest place to start is by lying on your side with a couple yoga blocks. You're gonna lie down on these blocks with one on the top part of the pelvis and the other long ways on the side of your rib cage. This is gonna use some sort of external constraint to create that lateral squeezing effect. With your legs, have the bottom leg flat and the top foot in front of the bottom ankle, lifting the knee up without rotating backwards. Take your top hand, put it atop your forehead with the elbow flared out. You shouldn't feel a stretch at all in the chest or any tension in your neck. If that's you, then you'll just want to play with a different arm angle. Once you feel comfortable, press your hand down into your head. This will engage your bicep a little bit, but you don't have to be super aggressive. I'm talking 2 to 4 out of 10. Moving only 75% of your air. Do a slow 5-count breath in through the nose and a soft 5-count exhale out the mouth. Think about melting down into those blocks. Hold this position for 3 to 4 sets of 60 seconds per side. You'll then want to progress to moving and rotating while producing as little tension as possible. Here, you can lie on your side with a foam roller between your legs. You'll want your hips at about a 70-degree angle of hip flexion. Arms will be out in front of your chest, atop one another. You're going to nasal breathe quietly throughout this motion. As you do that, you're going to start the roll by moving your top arm along the bottom arm, then across the chest, and then rotate backwards. As you rotate, you want to think about moving one segment at a time. So your chest should move, then your middle back, and then your lower back, and then your hips. Once you've gone as far as you can, which is determined by when the leg stops moving, not over-rotating through the trunk, because that creates a lot of twist and torsion in the middle of your body, and that can get uncomfortable. But on the way back, you want to lead with the knee. So this time it's going to be knee forward, then the pelvis, then the lower back, then the mid, then the upper, then the arm. So it's roll back, move the arms, roll forward, use the legs. Go as slow as possible, and if you get it right, you're not going to feel a whole lot of anything. This is you teaching your body to move without tension. Hang out with this roll for 2 to 5 minutes per side. The last move in this sequence is German arm swings. This is teaching you to move with as little tension as possible while standing. And all you're going to do is turn your body side to side, letting your arms flop along for the ride. It should be very chill, relaxed, and you shouldn't feel a whole lot happening. Do 3 sets of 10 swings per side. Now, if you've opened up motion with the hella stiff exercises, you might start running into more specific restrictions. One of those could be the fetal position category, which has the overall external rotation loss. With this, we want to reduce rectus, damn near gluteus abdominis muscle tension, and open up the upper back and lower back regions, which can improve external rotation. An easy place to start is lying on your back with your legs up in the air. Feet will be together, knees will be pushed out. Ideally, your waistband area should be flat on the ground. If it's not, straighten your knees a little bit and that'll flatten the back out. Place your hands atop of your head, letting the elbows flare out, but not to the point where you feel a stretch in the pecs. Press your hands down into your head at about a 2 to 4 out of 10 effort to engage the biceps. Here, you're going to slowly breathe in this position, only moving 75% of your air. 5 count in through the nose, slow 5 count out through the mouth. Hold this position for 3 to 4 sets of 60 seconds. You then next want to work on opening up these areas more dynamically. I like this turtle roll here that I saw from my mentor, Bill Hartman. Here you want to grab underneath the legs and look straight ahead. Inhale, kick your legs straight to cause the backwards roll. Exhale, bend your knees to get back to the start position. You want this move driven from the legs. The biggest mistake that I see is people flopping backwards using their back. If you use your legs to drive the motion, those are the active components. That'll help the back and the spine relax. Do 3 sets of 10 rolls with this one. You then want to progress to opening up these areas in a standing position. I like starting folks with a wall squat here. Get about 2 foot lengths away from the wall with your feet pointing forward. Look straight ahead and get the arms up like you're holding a jacket over your shoulder. Squat down, staying above parallel. Now at this point, you should notice that your waistband area is in contact with the wall. If it's not, please don't force it by crunching. What you want to do instead is use your heels to push your body backwards, almost like you're pushing the ground away from you. If you get it right, your quads are going to start cooking. Hold this position for 3 to 4 sets of 60 seconds. Another common presentation is the frog, with an overall loss of internal rotation. Here, we want to focus on opening up the middle back and the lower pelvis area, which can affect internal rotation. I like to start with a move I affectionately call the crime scene pose. Here, you want to lie on your stomach with one arm and leg flared outward. The arm should be at about eye to nose height. The leg is just barely out to the side. Relax into the ground, gently pressing the inside knee, the inside elbow, and the base of the wrist into the ground without the ribs coming up. Moving only 75% of your air. You want to do a slow 5-count breath in through the nose and a soft 5-count breath out through the mouth. Do 3 sets of 60 seconds per side. You can progress the range of motion difficulty by using a Swiss ball in this manner. Lie on your back with your legs up in the air, feet together, knees apart. Put an exercise ball or a foam roller between the legs. Press into the ball without losing the foot contact. Then reach your arms up at about 110 to 120 degrees of shoulder flexion. You'll do the same slow breathing like you did for the last move. During the exhale, reach your arms up at that angle. Hold this position for 3 to 4 sets of 60 seconds. You'll then want to practice opening up these areas in standing. An easy place to do this is with a box squat variation. Stand with your feet turned out slightly, holding a light weight. I'm talking like 10 pounds, 5 kilograms. Soften the knees, look straight ahead. You're going to exhale and reach your arms forward. This is going to keep your weight heavier on your heels. Then you want to inhale and sit down on the box or chair, keeping the arms directly in front of the chest at a 90-degree angle. Exhale, slowly come back up. Don't make the mistake of arching your back as you lower, or when you sit, completely relaxing and rounding backwards, as this will keep those areas tight. The other mistake you want to watch is locking out aggressively at the top. You really want to slow 3-count pace down and 3-count pace up, being soft and chill. Do 3 sets of 10 reps for this move. Now, sometimes you can have more mixed presentations where you have a loss of one rotation in the upper body and the opposite rotation in the lower body. The duck butt is an example of this. Now, this presentation needs to focus on opening the mid and lower back area by shifting your weight backward. An easy place to start is lying on your back with your feet flat, a yoga block between the legs. You want your toes pointing forward, and your waistband should be flat. If it's not, you want to elevate your feet on a surface. Reach your arms up at about 110 to 120 degrees of shoulder flexion with the palms up. Moving only 75% of your air, you're going to do a slow 5-count breath in through the nose and a soft 5-count breath out through the mouth. During the exhale, reach the arms upward at the angle that you have them. Hold this position for 3 to 4 sets of 60 seconds. You then want to progress the intensity of the backward shift with flutter kicks. You're going to lie on your back, straighten your knees so that way the waistband area and lower back stay into the ground. Reach the arms up at that 110 to 120 degree of shoulder flexion with the palms up. Get an exhale and reach at the start. This will ensure that the waistband and back area stay flat on the ground. Slowly breathing, just like you did with the other move. Flutter your legs up and down, making sure you don't go to the point where your back starts arching. If you get it right, your abs are going to be absolutely torched. Hang out in this position for 3 to 4 sets of 30 to 60 seconds. The goal over the long haul is to work to being able to get your legs to just hovering off of the ground without arching your back. You'll then want to work on this weight shift backwards in the standing position. Do this with a wall squat. Get your feet a couple foot lengths away from the wall and look straight ahead with your arms up like so, as if you were holding a jacket over your shoulder. You want to squat down slightly, staying heel heavy. Now you should notice at this point that your waistband area is on the wall. If it's not, don't force it by tucking. Instead, use your heels to push your back backwards into the wall. It should feel like you're pushing the ground away from you. If you get it right, your quads will work. Hold this position for 3 to 4 sets of 60 seconds. Another mixed presentation is the World of Warcraft person. He's got limited external up top and internal rotation down low. The biggest key with this person is getting rectus, damn near kill this abdominis, to chill, and work on opening up the lower part of the hips. You can start this by lying on your side with a mat or some sort of pad or pillow underneath your side. Have the bottom leg flat on the ground with the top foot in front of the bottom ankle. Lift the knee up slightly. Have your bottom arm down at about 60 degrees of shoulder flexion. Place the top hand on your head and have your elbow flared out slightly. And you shouldn't feel feel any tension in your pec or your neck or anything like that, so you might need to play with where your elbow is in space. Press your hand down into your head at about a 2 to 4 out of 10 effort. This will engage the biceps just a little bit. Hang out in this position and breathe, moving only 75% of your air. You're going to do a slow 5-count breath in through the nose and a soft 5-count breath out through the mouth. Hold this position for 3 sets of 60 seconds per side. You then want to use gravity to kind of open up the front side of the body, and I like lying on the stomach for this one. Get a pad or a firm pillow underneath the lower rib cage, making sure the chest is free floating. Then you're gonna have your elbows upwards, so that way your elbow crease is about eye height. Press your inner elbows and base of the wrists down. This will cause your chest to come up, but you don't want to lift so high that the lower ribs come off the pad. Look up just a little bit. Hang out in this position, breathing as we did for the last move for 3 to 4 sets of 60 seconds. You can then open up these areas in standing with a sumo wall squat. Get up against the wall about 1.5 to 2 foot lengths away, little bit wider stance and toe out slightly. You're gonna look straight ahead and slide down the wall. You wanna make sure the waistband area is flat on the wall. If it's not, don't force it by tucking the hips. You're gonna use your legs and arms to help you get there. Reach the arms out in front of your chest in the handshake position. Do the slow breathing like we did for all of the other moves. During the exhale, gently reach the arms forward and then use your heels to push yourself backwards into the wall, almost like you're pushing the ground away. Hang out in this position for 3 to 4 sets of 60 seconds. Now, if you're one of those super bendy folks who passed all the tests, but you still kind of feel, usually what happens is those folks end up producing most of their motion through their spine and less motion through the arms and legs. The big key with this is to reverse engineer that. We want to create more tension in the trunk and get the arms and legs to chill. You'll need a Swiss ball to start with that. Lie on your back with your feet together, knees apart. The Swiss ball will rest on your thighs. Walk your hands up on the ball as well. You want to press the thighs and the hands into the ball. This will engage the abs a little bit, and it will work on flattening the back and waistband into the ground. Now, if you got a big arch in this position, straighten your knees a little bit, and that'll help you get the back flat without forcing. During a slow inhale through the nose, press one arm and one thigh into the ball, and the opposite arm and leg are going to move towards the ground. The side of the foot should tap the ground, and your arm should go backwards, but not to the point where you arch. You want to alternate sides as you do this, doing 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps per side. You then want to progress this into a more weight-bearing position, one that I affectionately call the bear position. You'll want to do this with some sort of push-up handles or dumbbells to get the best results. Looking straight down and making sure that your knuckles are pointing towards the ground. You want a straight line of the push-up handle down through the wrist. Don't make the mistake of having your wrist cocked backwards to where the weight bearing is more through the arch of the hand. You can't get as good of a push with that. Take a slow 5-count breath in through the nose. During the first exhale, which should be about a 5-count as well, push the base of your wrists down and your feet. This will cause the knees to lift up. You want your torso parallel to the ground without sagging the trunk or pushing so far that you end up crunching the upper back. In this position, moving only 75% of your air, do a slow 5-count breath in through the nose and a soft 5-count breath out through the mouth. Hang out here for 3 sets of 60 seconds. To work on this differentiation in standing, I love a front foot elevated split squat. Here you want to hold a weight at about chest height and put one foot on an elevated surface. The other leg, you're going to be back on the tippy toe. Keep the knees soft in this position, but be more heavy on the front leg, especially the heel. Looking straight ahead, you're going to inhale and drop straight down at about a 3-count. Exhale, come back up. Don't make the mistake of locking out aggressively too much at the top, because then what happens is you end up creating more motion through the back. You also don't want to take a super long stride as you're doing this, because again, that's you using the stuff you're good at. As the great philosopher Mike Tyson would say, spinal. You want to be about 1.5 to 2 foot lengths apart. If, as you're doing this, you notice that your back leg is doing most of the work, use your big toe in the back leg to push yourself forward. The key is to go slow with this move and keep the knees soft and bent so the front leg cooks. Do 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps with this move. Now, once you've mastered some of these progressions for 3 to 6 weeks, it's not uncommon to present more asymmetrical or have a rotation that's limited. That's not a bad thing. It actually shows that you can rotate your body in one direction, but not the other. That's a lot more motion than a lot of the other presentations we talked about. Here, we're going to drive more rotational activities overall. A great place to start is this side-lying armbar roll. Whatever side is limited in internal rotation, you want that on the top. Here, you'll lie on your side with your head resting on a pad or a pillow. Your bottom arm's going to be out in front of you. The top arm, you want a weight in it, and you want to make sure that your chest and your pelvis are parallel to the wall. The top leg will have the knee up slightly. Don't make the mistake of having your arm rotated way backwards. You want it over the top like Stallone. Hey, how you doing? Do a slow inhale through the nose. As you do that, you're going to roll onto your back, taking your hand from the thumbs up position to the fist bump position. Exhale, roll back to the start position, leading with the leg. Inhale, roll back. Exhale, roll forward. Do 3 sets of 8 to 12 rolls with this move. You can then progress the amount of rotation that you're driving with the shift move. You want the side that's limited on external rotation on the bottom. Press your feet, especially your heels, into the wall. This will engage the hamstrings a little bit. Moving only 75% of your air, you're going to do a slow 5-count breath in through the nose. On the exhale, which should also be a 5-count, reach your knee and your arm forward. This is going to create a turn of the entire spine towards the ground. Keep the feet in contact as you do this. The biggest mistake I see people make is the heel on the top side will lift up. This is not about how far you go, it's about controlling the rotation so you can improve motion. Keep driving this movement as far as you can without losing the foot contact for 3 sets of 60 seconds, continuing to breathe as we talked about throughout. Then, to work on this rotation in a standing position, I like a reverse lunge with a cross connect. And most people benefit from doing this on both sides, even if you're asymmetrical. Looking straight ahead, you want to step back and drop down into reverse lunge, staying heavy on the front leg. As you do this, have your arm like it's holding a jacket over your shoulder, but then bring the elbow towards the midline. When you drop down in this position, you want to breathe in through your nose. Come back up and exhale. You're going to alternate sides as you do this without going so far with the upper body that you end up crunching down. Try 3 sets of 8 to 12 lunges per side. Now, aside from these moves, practicing certain things throughout the day can help your mobility gains stick that much better. This video right here has some great ways to reinforce those mobility gains throughout your day. Give it a shot.